On today's video, I'm going to show you something very interesting about the Fujifilm camera display. Hi everyone and welcome to PaldaTech. So I received a question from a viewer recently, and it had to do with a very interesting but kind of confusing aspect of the Fujifilm camera display. For today's demo, I'm going to be using an X-T5, so I need to take a few photos. We'll focus in on N.E.R.D 209 right here, and Gear Iguana. Okay, that should do it for now. So the issue that I'm about to discuss has to do with playback of images on the SD card that you've just shot with your camera. I'm going to go ahead and press the playback button on the camera right now. And here's the image that I just shot. As you can see, there is information overlaid on it. The two buttons we need to be concerned with are the DISP back button and the top D-pad button. Now, if you press the DISP back button, that will rotate through three different screens. The first is obviously the one that you see right here, where you have some information on the top and the bottom of the image. Now the second one is just the image with no information at all. And the third is what I call the notoriously elaborate readout display, N.E.R.D for short, and that is actually a gateway to a bunch of other data. We'll get to that in just a second. And as you can see right here, it's got an RGB histogram on it, as well as areas of the image that the highlights are clipped. As I am pressing the DISP back button, the camera is rotating through those three screens. Now the top D-pad button rotates you through four different screen options. The first screen is that N.E.R.D display. You see it right there? And it's identical to the one that the DISP back button would show you. The second screen shows you more detailed camera options. And have a look at this right here. It shows you right where your focus point was at the time you took the shot. The third screen is sort of a page 2 from the first screen, and it shows you more EXIF data. And the fourth and final screen is the screen that you started at before you started pressing on that top button. Four different screens. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the DISP back button has three of them. 1, 2, 3. And they look very similar, especially the one that has the RGB histogram. So here's why this can be confusing for a number of Fujifilm users. Even though both of these different buttons can basically switch between the screens, if you're in the habit of using the top D-pad button, and for example, I just set it right now to the RGB histogram view, if you go ahead and you half press the shutter button and you return to the normal, taking photographs view, you take some more photos, you go back, and then you hit the playback button again, the RGB histogram is now gone. It only works for just that session of when you were playing back. However, the DISP back button makes it permanent. So for example, if I'm in playback mode and I press to rotate it and put it on RGB histogram, even if I turn the camera off or whatever, the next time I go back into playback, that RGB histogram is going to be right there. And then I will press the top D-pad button to go up where it says next right here. And let's go to screen 2, right? That super duper EXIF data. Remember, I started with the DISP back button and then I switched over to the D-pad button to get to that extra screen. If I turn off the camera now, right? And 3 weeks later, pick the camera back up. When I turn the camera back on and I press the playback button again to view my images, histogram there. I'm going to go ahead and press the top D-pad button to go to the next area. There's that first screen, second screen, back to histogram, but we can't get back to the screen without the histogram. You see that? It went from having 4 options to 3. If you're finding that the histogram is in the way and you can't get it out of the way and you're trying to see your photos through playback, just press the DISP back button and all will be well. Now, I didn't take a survey or a study or a census on how many Fujifilm users were confused by this. I will tell you that there were 2 people on planet Earth confused by this. The guy in Australia who notified me about it, thank you, Peter, and me. I didn't make the connection between the permanence of using the DISP back button, right, versus the top D-pad button. So here's a great way to think of it. The DISP back button makes the option screen permanent. until you change it using the DISP back button, while the top button on the D-pad is only temporary while you're in that one playback mode session that you're looking at your photos. Before we continue, I would like to say a word about today's video sponsor, FlexiSpot, and to tell you all about their special Black Friday sales event happening right now. I have been using the FlexiSpot E7 Pro Plus every day for the past few years. I absolutely love it. And that is because being able to stand while I'm working actually raises my energy level, and I do notice that I am more productive with the work that I'm doing. I also have one that I use specifically as a product photography table. This makes my filming so much more convenient. I can quickly use the desk to adjust the position of the subject either up or down. The desk is very easy to assemble, which can be done in about 30 minutes. It comes in a number of colors, materials, and sizes. So here's the thing about standing desks. You want the flexibility of quickly moving it from a sitting position to a standing position. The electronic keypad right here controls everything. Even at full height, the desk is solid and it has very minimal wobbling. If you have been on the fence about getting a standing desk, especially the E7 Pro, there is no better time than right now. FlexiSpot's Black Friday sales event is one of their biggest discount events of the year. You can use my code FlexiSpot30 and get an extra $30 off their E7, E7 Pro standing desk, as well as the C7 ergonomic chair. I will have all of the details down in the description below this video. And now, back to the show. So my second Fujifilm topic for today has to do with the video that I published last week called The Most Dangerous Setting in Photography. Since that video came out, I received a lot of messages with the same question of how come in the video you didn't say the most dangerous setting in all of photography is the shoot without card setting. You go into your camera's menu, into the little wrench, button dial setting, and you see where it says shoot without card? If that is turned on, that means that you can then walk around and take photos with your camera without an SD card in it. And a few years ago, 100%, I absolutely would have said that that is definitely the most dangerous setting in all of photography. Here's a little secret you didn't know. That was the original subject of that video. And then the aperture setting that I actually talked about in the video, that was a bonus that I put toward the end. After I shot the video, I was editing the video, and as I was cutting it together, I thought to myself, I probably should just one more time verify that if you put that to on, right, that you can in fact walk around and take, 500 photos and not realize it. And that was when I discovered this. When you go to take a photo, everything on the camera stops and you get an OK next icon. You see that right here? And yes, you can, in theory, take another shot like this. But after each image, you're gonna see the OK next. And obviously you can get out of it by pressing menu OK. I don't think they ever used to have that. Now, I may be wrong about that, but if I remember correctly, that is something that came with some kind of a firmware update in the last year or so. I think that that didn't used to be there, and when it wasn't there, then yeah, shoot without card, worst, most dangerous setting in all of photography. I did a lot of soul searching when I went back into the editor and I recut the video to how you see it now and what was published last week. Now, I should have caught that and tested it before I started editing. I would have saved hours of time. And the reason that I didn't is the subject of the final topic of this video. When you're creating videos for an audience and you want those videos to get out there and you want people to see them because you pour your heart and soul into them. You want to do everything you can do so that YouTube will promote it and people will come watch it. You start to get into this mode and this mindset, getting these videos done as quickly as possible and then thinking, okay, what can I talk about is going to gain the most amount of views or do the best for the channel. And you start to move a little bit away from those type of videos that maybe you love, but you know what? Let me go get something that's going to make this very clear. So for a while now, I had this chart hanging up in the studio, and it served as sort of a template for me to kind of figure out if a video was worth doing or not. I might spend a huge amount of time working on a video that's on a topic that's really not of interest to the audience. And that would fall right here. The more views the video gets, the more ad space YouTube can sell, and thus the more money the video earns. And some videos balance out perfectly, like the X-T5 review I did, right? A lot of time put into that, and it did quite well on the channel. But here's the problem with this chart. It's not sustainable, okay? It seems like it makes sense, and at the time, I thought it did make sense. The problem is it omits something really important, something that I should have included on the chart. Well, I shouldn't have even had the chart in the first place, but if I'm going to have the chart, I should have included this, and that is the amount of fun and excitement I feel making the video. That should be the only thing that matters at all. And so I started searching for validation in how I was feeling over the past couple of weeks. And I looked at other YouTube channels and I did a bunch of research. And then I stumbled across something from 4 years ago that, you know what? It was me. Let me from 4 years ago tell you exactly what I mean. Being on YouTube is weird. You know why it's weird? It's weird because you see me and I'm talking to you, right? But do you want to know what I see? This is what I see. That's what I see. I'm just talking to a camera and I don't know if anybody's listening. And I think my kids actually felt bad. I mean, check this out. Look at this. So here I've got, and I don't know if you can see it, right? Look what they left. They left this little note for me right here. Look at that. See that? Okay, how cool is that? My goal is to have fun with this more and to really get to know you better. I mean, that's what, I reach out to me in the comments. I've been emailing with a number of you. It's been awesome. I love talking to you and I love hanging out with you. And so I'm really glad you're here is what I'm trying to say. I'm excited. I'm excited to start this journey with you. I'm going to be signing off now, but have a wonderful weekend, and I will definitely see you in a new video next week. Take care. On today's video, can't do this. Okay, how do I turn this thing off?
You jackass.